Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross from PTCGRadio, and I am back with another video for you. Now, today I am playing a tournament on PTCGO. I've been trying to play a tournament for a while. Every time I try and select, it's not one. There was some beta announcement on there the other day. I went in, there's a tournament, I pay 8 of my 18 tokens, and I am off. I wait until 8 people have joined, and I'm ready to go in my tournament. Now, going into round 1, I'm playing a guy called Don Nando. I am, of course, using my TDK deck, the one I've been favouring recently. There will be more videos coming with more decks in the near future, but for the time being, I am just going to be using TDK for this tournament. Didn't really understand tournaments, how they worked, what the prizes were, etc. I just knew that every so often you go in and you're given some tournament tickets as your daily kind of prize, and that can be used. So I went in there today, there was a tournament, I used my tournament tickets, and round 1 I'm drawn against an Evil Tau list, and I've got everything I need there to win the game, I believe, on the first turn. No, not quite. So I can play my Thunderous and I can play my Rainbow Energy, and that's going to allow me to do 60 damage with the weakness. The Muscle Band puts it up to a little bit more than that, and the Deoxys as well puts it up to 120, means I need a laser or another Deoxys. Now the reason I'm double Chorus machining here is so that if I don't hit an escape rope I can manually retreat the Deoxys, and I hit both the Ultra Ball and the laser there, so I'm going to be able to do 150 on my first turn of the game to that, 170 on the first turn of the game, because he's put a Verbank out. If that was an Evital EX, I would have the win. As it turns out, I do hit the escape rope, but even if I hadn't hit the escape rope, I would have been able to retreat due to the Chorus machine, and I can always scramble switch later on if I want to keep that energy. So round 1, nice and quick, nice and easy. I won on the second turn of the game, and that's one thing that TDK is really, really good for. It's a fast deck, and I'm going second there. Going second actually helped me out. So we can see there the tournament's broken up into a bracket of 8 players, and it works exactly like a top 8 would at a tournament. When you win, you go through to the next part of the bracket to face your next opponent. And obviously I skipped a big part of the thing there. When everybody's finished, you get a 30-second warning, and it goes into round 2 of the tournament, which I want to win, but I'm hoping it's a little bit more exciting than round 1, which, although fun, wasn't particularly great. As a side note, I played a second tournament right after, and in my first game, I won on my first turn, going second, knocking out a Squirtle on turn 1. So that's apparently how I start tournaments. So again, I'm going second here, and this is one of the reasons I love playing TDK. I seem to go second more than is usual. I used to moan about it a lot, but rather than moan about it, I figured, never mind, I'll just play a deck that doesn't mind going second. With Thunderous and Kyurem, going second is not the end of the world. And a little bit of deja vu here. I'm going second, and my opponent starts with a lone non-EX Evil Tau. Now, right now, I'm hoping I can draw into a Thunderous or a Ball, so that next turn I can play the escape rope, get the Thunderous active, doing Raid and Knuckle, and all is good. And once again, my opponent starts with a laser, and I don't. I don't get why that always happens against Darkrai, but it does mean that I have my lasers for late game when there's inevitably a Verbank City gym down, so it could be worse. So I've got a decision here. Do I Skylar for a Pokemon, or do I Juniper? Here, it's pretty much got to be Skylar for a Pokemon. I can start getting set up, and I grab the Ultra Ball there, of course, so that I can discard energy and Raid and Knuckle it onto the Kyurem. And I'm obviously going to want to discard the Rainbow Energy, so I can then Raid and Knuckle it onto the Kyurem, and it's a way of attaching Rainbow Energy without doing that extra 10 damage. So just a little kind of thing that some people may have missed there. It's a nice little way to get around the downsides of Rainbow Energy. I then attach my energy to Landorus for the turn. Not Landorus, sorry, Thunderous for the turn. And it only does 60, but I get an energy onto my Kyurem, meaning that I can do a manual attachment Colress Machine next turn to get him Blizzard Burning. And although I didn't do half the amount of damage I needed to kill Yveltal EX, it's really not a big stretch to see Thunderous doing 120 to an Yveltal. All it would take there would be a Muscle Band and I believe a single Deoxys to allow me to do 60. That would be 120 damage in total, which would get the KO. And of course I would get to attach a second energy to my Kyurem. Now he plays an escape rope of his own there, which of course makes perfect sense. He doesn't want his Yveltal EX to die on turn 2 without getting an attack off. Now he hasn't got any Dark Energy in his discard pile, so the attack there, which is actually Raiden Knuckle, isn't going to do as much as it could. It's just going to do the 30 damage. So there I get the Muscle Band, which I can attach. There is a question of which I attach it to. Do I save it for the Thunderous? But to be honest with you, there's no need to save it for the Thunderous, because I play 4 of them. Now I could have discarded that, hoping to be able to hit a Colress Machine to put the energy on Kyurem, but I've already got an energy in the discard pile for the Raiden Knuckle, and the safest place there was just to attach the energy, because if I don't attach it and I discard it, then I can't attack with Kyurem, I can't retreat the Kyurem, and I basically don't get an attack off. Obviously the ideal there was to discard it, and then to draw a coloured energy and a Colress Machine. The odds weren't in my favour, so the best bet there was to just attach the energy and have at it. So I can Frost Spear, and I'm going to go for his Rattata here. Now Rattata has 40 HP, not 30. There was a time when the only legal Rattata had 30 HP, and that was lovely, because I played Landorus at the time. Those days are gone. So I know he's playing Raticate here, and for those that have forgotten, Raticate for free colourless energy has an attack which brings down the HP of whatever your active Pokemon is to 10, and then of course you play Laser before, and it gets a one-hit KO on absolutely anything. So I'm going to want to try and avoid him getting that attack off onto my EXs, because that will swing the prize trade in his favour. But I can see he's playing Yveltal and Yveltal EX. I can see he's playing Absol, and he's playing a minimum of a 2-2 Raticate line. So I'm wondering how consistent his deck really is. He's building in stage 1 lines with his regular kind of Yveltal deck. And I mean, the general rule with all of these things is the more you try and put in your deck, the more lovely teching opportunities you've got when your deck runs superbly. When your deck doesn't run superbly, the more chances there are, of course, that that's not going to happen, and the more games you're going to lose for that reason. So although that Raticate is threatening to swing the prize trade in his favour by taking 2 prizes with a non-EX, at once, of course, I'm not 100% worried here, because I'm probably going to get a couple cheeky prizes here. Looking at his board, and he's playing incredibly slowly in this game, which is why I'm trying to elaborate on various things, because if he was playing at this speed in a tournament, he would be told to hurry up. The game, of course, doesn't allow for that. And he's playing Garbodor as well. So I'm really wondering how consistent his deck is going to be here. And although, in theory, Garbodor's going to shut off my Deoxys and my Genesect, and Raticate's going to get one-hit KOs, it's one of these situations, and he really is playing very slowly here, it's one of these situations where if he draws amazingly, he's going to win this game, because he's got all the tricks. I don't. I did post a breakdown of my TDK deck on my YouTube channel, and you'll see that I've gone full bore consistency, and the reason is I want to be playing against people with decks like this. I want to be playing against people with all the tricks, because if they draw like God, they're going to win. But if they don't draw like God, I'm going to win. Now, I'm recognising that his Raticate's got not much HP, and that basically my Thunderous can kill anything if I get its second attack off, and that's all I want to be doing right now. Now, I do unfortunately whiff the laser to get the KO on his active Evil Tal as well. But I get the benched KO on his Rattata. Like I said, lack of consistency. He doesn't draw the Raticate. I take an easy prize. Now, I didn't get the KO on his Evil Tal, which kind of sucks. But his Evil Tal's got 10 HP. So if I get my other Kyurem out at any time in the vaguely near future, I'm going to be able to kill that with the residual bench damage. Let's not forget, of course, that his Evil Tal EX on the bench has 2 energy on. And I'm going to be killing that very easily with, even if he does get his Garbodor out, just Thunderous, Laser, Energy, and his Evil Tal EX is going down. Now, just double checking the Raticate there, you can see what it does. It's good if you can get everything else working. So he gets a KO on my Kyurem, but it really makes you wonder if it's worth it. Because I'm going to be going down to 3 prizes now. Even if he gets the Revenge KO with a Raticate, he evens up the prizes going into my turn, and he's still got the pretty much dead non-EX Evil Tal on the bench. And he'll have an active Pokemon with 60 HP. So you can see here that the prize trade is almost certainly going to be swinging back around in my favour. And one of the things I encourage people to do as they start playing, especially if you're a newer player, try and see how the game is likely to shake out. Try and predict what your opponent is going to do. Now, I've obviously got the question here of, do I really want to be putting all that energy on my active Thunderous? The answer is, of course, no. So it's worth giving up an energy to get me to the bench. So I'm going to retreat, I'm going to play the laser, and that's going to put him on 150 unless I can draw me a muscle band. Oh no, sorry, it's not going to put him on 150, that's a lie. He's yet to get his Garbodor out, so this is actually going to do enough to get the KO without doing anything else. Because I'm going to be doing the 30 for the Rain Knuckle, plus the 10 for the Deoxys is 40, times 2 is 80, added to the 60 he's already got will put him on 140, the Poison will do 30 and he will die from that. If anybody's wondering why I didn't play my Bicycles when I could have done, the answer is very simple here. And again, like I said, I'm building up that Thunderous, although I could also build up the Deoxys and get some easy KOs. But I don't want to. He could well end me to 3 here. If he ends me to 3, I'm going to want to be drawing those Bicycles. One of the things, and this was actually a tip I got from my friend Mao, who I've mentioned a few times on the podcast, he's a very good TDK player, and one of the things he told me was, don't shoot your load too early. Don't use the bikes earlier than you need to, because if you get end late game to 1 or 2, you're going to want to draw into a bike. It's not thinning your deck. Thinning your deck, and there we go. I actually draw 3 supporters, but as I've talked about in previous videos with TDK, I like to play a lot of supporters in the hope that if I do get end, I'm going to draw out of it. But thinning your deck, as far as I'm concerned, is getting rid of stuff that you don't want to draw late game. It's not really going to do any good later on if I, get rid of Bicycles in my deck, because they're cards I very much do want to be drawing. I in fact want to be thinning my deck and drawing the Bicycles. So you'll notice the Raticate there has got 3 retreats. We put it up active. He didn't get the 3rd energy onto the Raticate. And you can see here his deck is not running very well at all. Now a quick look at my discard pile shows that I've got 2 Plasma Energy in the discard. And I've got 2 on Thunderous, so there aren't any more Plasma Energy either in my deck or in my discard, so that Genesect is doing nothing. I'm not playing Shadow Triad because I prefer Lysandre, so that Genesect goes in the bin. I don't need him. What I do need is a second non-EX attacker. Hello, Kyurem. And he didn't get the 3rd energy on the Raticate, so he couldn't attack, and again, that non-EX Evil Tal has attacked 3 or 4 times now without attaching energy. His deck is not running nicely, and the reason it's not running nicely is because it's trying to do too much. He's got Raticate, he's got Garbodor, he's got Evil Tal, he's got Absol, he's got Evil Tal EX. I've got a very straightforward Plasma list with no real tricks. I mean, I am playing Escape Rope, but they function as my switch / floatstone, so I am kind of adding a trick into my deck without removing anything that you would expect to see in this kind of deck. So I'm kind of adding tricks without taking away my consistency. And basically here, I don't want to kill his active Evil Tal, I want to kill it with residual damage from my Kyurem. Anything he puts active, I'm going to be able to kill because of that laser. So basically here, I can get a nice easy KO with Thunderous Noise, and it's going to be very nice. Now I do draw the Juniper here, and I suppose one of the things I slept on is that he can kill me with Raticate. Maybe I should have taken the easy KO with the active Thunderous, so that I could then have killed his Raticate very easily with my Thunderous, which would have had more energy on. But because I've got so many bikes and supporters in my deck, I'm feeling good about my chances of drawing out of this. And it's not going to take too much for me to get a KO on that Raticate. It's got 60 HP. Now he does have a Garbodor out, but, you know, Muscle Band Laser's going to get the KO, so I'm really not feeling too bad about my chances. And if he wants to cycle KOs of Raticate, he's got to keep drawing lasers. And he's already used a laser or two. You see there, he's got to play his Dowsing Machine to draw a laser. Even if he does cycle KOs on my Thunderous, I don't really care. Because next turn, let's say he gets a KO on this Thunderous, and then next turn, I'm going to do a minimum of 30 to his Raticate, and then maybe he's going to get a second KO on the second Thunderous. He goes down to 1 prize, his Raticate's only got 30 HP left. He's got the almost dead Evil Tal on the bench, so if this game goes as well as it possibly can for him, and he gets the 2 KOs in consecutive turns with Raticate, I'm still going to win the game. Now, as it turns out, I get the Muscle Band Laser as predicted, so I get the KO anyway. But he'd go down to 1 prize, and then next turn, I would need a single energy, just 1 energy, of any kind, in order to pull off Frostbeer and get the double KO on his Raticate and his benched Evil Tal. So, really, and I could have gone Prism over Rainbow there. I just love getting Rainbow at the discard, so I don't have to do the energy attachment. It really makes no difference. Now I don't have an energy yet, so maybe he ends me to 1, maybe I don't draw the energy, but I like my odds of getting the KO in this situation. I don't really think he had much of a game there, even if it went absolutely perfectly for him. And you see here he's basically lost. He could try and bring my Deoxys active and kill that, but even if he brought my Deoxys active, that's only getting him 2 prizes and he's got 3 left to take. At some point, either the Evil Tal's going to be active and I'm going to kill it with probably a Thunderous, or the Evil Tal's going to go to the bench and the residual bench damage from Kyurem is going to kill him. At this stage, there really is nothing he can do about that. Now, this is potentially a good play for him here. He's basically betting on the fact that I'm not going to draw an energy and he's going to kill the Kyurem, which is the only thing that really threatens him at the moment. He's going to be able to kill that Kyurem with Mewtwo, and I'm not going to be able to win from the bench damage. But of course that's not going to happen, because I get to put my Thunderous active, and I get to Scramble Switch, guaranteeing the energy on the Kyurem. Now at this point I could get the win here, and I do this in testing games, and I apologise to any of my opponents to whom I do this, but I want to see how well I can win here. I want to basically see the best I can do with a particular deck. So although I could get the win here, I want to see if he didn't have something half dead on his bench, would I be able to get the Blizzard Burn KO? You know, how much damage, and you see my opponent makes a face there. This isn't me trying to troll him, this isn't me trying to be horrible. This is a testing game for me. In a tournament I'd have just taken the win. But this is really a testing game for me, and I want to see if it came to a tournament, and you see there my opponent very gracious adds that, nice touch. But I basically want to see if this was in a tournament, and I didn't have the easy bench to KO there, what would I be able to do? Would I be able to get anything better there? Would I be able to get a better attack? Would I be able to kill something that had more HP active? So I know I could have just got the win. Instead I played around until I could attack with Blizzard Burn for 140. Maybe that sounds a little bit mean, but it's the way I roll. So here I go into round 3 of the tournament, and if I win here, I've won the tournament. I don't quite know what I'm going to win, is the honest thing here. I don't know how tournaments work. This was my way of showing how tournaments work, and to be honest with you, if I didn't know how they work, I think there's a fair shout that a lot of people watching my YouTube channel didn't know how they worked, and this is where it comes from. So, I know I'm going to win. I don't know what I'm going to win, but I know I'm going to win if I can win this particular game. So, I went against my opponent, and it does seem to be that people are playing incredibly slowly in these tournaments, and it's a little bit frustrating because I played this quite late at night and I don't want to be sitting here watching people do nothing. The good news is I got to watch the Italy-Uruguay match. Not Italy-Uruguay. I got to watch somebody play. I think I played Uruguay, played Costa Rica maybe? I don't know. No, Italy played Costa Rica. I was watching some kind of World Cup game, and it was moderately entertaining, so it wasn't the end of the world, but it's very frustrating here for me to just sit and watch my opponent do nothing. It does also raise the interesting question of, at this stage, my opponent has already won 2 games to get to the final. I hope he had internet trouble, not because I'm a horrible person, but because otherwise he won 2 games and then threw away the final. It just seems a little bit silly. But you see, my opponent has gone inactive, and although there's no real consequence for slow playing here, now you'll notice that on PTCGO each person does have a counter in terms of, they get 15 minutes, and if that 15 minutes runs out, I believe you lose. But outside of that, if you go inactive, you get this counter. If after going inactive for a period of time, you stay inactive for a minute, then you lose. But this person instead just went inactive. Now I am going to skip a big chunk of this game here because I just can't be bothered. But essentially he's disconnected. If he doesn't come back in 5 minutes, I win. I like to think he saw that it was me and ran away scared. Oh, dancing away, that's the Wassy, that's that guy from that PTCGRadio, can't beat him. That's what I like to think happened. I intimidated him in a matter of a win. I don't like being intimidating, but if my opponent's going to make me sit there for over 5 minutes to get a free win, I want them to be, intimidated enough. And although it hasn't actually confirmed it on screen, I can assure you he does wuss out. There we go. So, what do I win? I've won the tournament. Yay! Essentially, my prize for winning the tournament here, and you'll see I only won one, token for that particular game. But I did sit there for 5 minutes doing absolutely nothing. It makes me wonder why he was playing this tournament. But I won 12 random boosters, and I have double-checked this since it is random boosters that you get. They could be from anything. I also get a completely meaningless, but gosh darn, I love it, cup. Just a random electronic cup. Yay! Now, I don't know what's going to happen. Oh, I also got a boatload of tokens, and as in, the little P tokens, and I got my 8 entry tokens back. Now, I've since had a look at the prize structure, and I believe second place gets 4 random online boosters, and some tokens, and their 8 entry tokens back. And I think everybody gets some of the P tokens, and everybody gets their entry fee back. Or unless you jump out early. I'm not entirely sure you get it if you jump out early. So, that was my first tournament. I hope you all enjoyed watching that. Not the most thrilling of games, but if nothing else, hopefully you now know how the tournaments work. Thank you very much for watching. As always, if you haven't done so already, subscribe, give it a like, ask any comments you've got in the comment section below, and look forward to my next video, which I can only assume is going to be a doozy. Thank you for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.